I'm primarily a SharePoint developer, and I was placed in the hydraulics unit, so I had some interesting challenges. There were business challenges, but as we started doing more custom stuff in SharePoint, somebody showed me kind of the ArcGIS online stuff and said, can you do anything with this and bring it into SharePoint? So I tried to do that. And the use case that we will be discussing here is, say you want to organize your data geospatially. So a lot of times we'll have like document libraries with a bunch of files in them, but the use case was, could we see all of our files on a map? So that was what we tried to build, and we'll start here. I'm actually the developer for this. I think it's pretty much me. And if I go to the page, you can see here, I'll close the tabs to the right. So just like if you were to use web maps, I actually didn't use web apps. It's all like I just wrote the code. You can see that you can browse the layer list of what's loaded. You can turn off layers the same way you would if it was web map. You have duplicates of some layers being loaded because they're used with multiple things. You can also change the background on it, but that's not the main point right now. So skip over here, and the performance is a little bit shaky. I understand why a lot of people decided to go with slides as opposed to using a live app. And then, so you go somewhere and you put the dot on the map. And then after you create the point, it creates a form for you to add information about the point. So we're just going to assume that this is the point that we're going to make. And it's in Wake County, Division 5. Sounds good. We hit submit. By request, it'll be open. It gives you a message that the document set has been created. So then after we create that document set, we can go to the files, and you'll see right here a few seconds ago the wake was created. The request for the file naming convention was to be, can you put the division number and then the county number? And then I have a unique 9-digit code, which optionally you would not display to a user if you didn't want to, but for the demo, sure, this is how it works. If there were other unique identifying characteristics, then you wouldn't need to add the code. So then let's say I have my document library and I'm going to need to add some files to it. So have some pictures of cats here for you, and for some reason I always go to cat pictures whenever I need a sample for anything. So then, and I googled PDF sample and also downloaded a PDF sample. So then if we go to the other viewer, which optionally would be for another user, you can see that once you create the item, it's placed on a map. And then I believe this was the one that we created. And if you go to the point, you can see, yes, that's the one we created. It was created today. It's Wake, it's in Division 5. And then you can, if there was a recommendation, you can say what the revision recommendations were. And you can also now from the .map point access the files that go with it. You just saw those files are added. And you might have noticed that the dots are colored, they're color coded. Initially when you create an item, it's green. And then if it's kind of in the danger zone around 5 days, it'll be a yellow dot. And if it's past due, it'll be a red dot. The way I handled the color change is kind of random because we had the request for the green, yellow, and red, but if it's yellow, I mean, it's only gonna be yellow for 1 day. So there's really no way to compensate that. So what I ended up doing was I converted the color values to RGB, and then I did the math to transition from green to yellow to red, which turns out to just be adding more, as you might guess, add more red to green and it becomes yellow. You don't really change the blue variable. So other things that this can do other than, well, so now essentially you have a map. You can look at all your projects of what should be done. If it's past due, you can see it's a little red dot. You can open it. I should probably speak more to that point. You can open the entry and you can see the associated files with it. One of the properties of SharePoint is that you may or may not know with the document set is that it maintains all the metadata for the thing that you upload it with. So all of these properties are specific to this dot, but they'll also, if you need to do search or anything like that, the documents that are under it will come up in any searching you do on metadata on the main document set. And the other thing you get from using, so since it's built on SharePoint, I can use a lot of the SharePoint functionality that would go with a library or a list item. So if we go back real quick to pipe requests, I mean, there's also, I believe I left that in there, yeah. So you can also, if you need it, zoom to where you are to create the point on the map, but I didn't do that before, which I could have. I'm gonna go back here and see the other thing is that you can view the list in the back end of SharePoint too. So getting out of all of that, if we come back to this list item, you'll notice we have the ability to set alerts on this list item. And what I don't currently have enabled is workflows. So when you're dealing with a workflow, that means that if you want it, you could automate it to say, hey, this project is now 3 days overdue. Shoot an email to this guy. He's got a link to all the files already included because, I mean, that's how they're all connected. And that is pretty much how it works. We did prototype doing a few other Esri-like integration items that we would hopefully be introducing in the future. Again, I'm not really on a team, so it takes a little longer. And then, so here's a preview of like some other applications you would be able to do is if you, for example, wanted to do like a custom shape, you could do the custom shape and draw it, get the area, and then you would be able to add notes and save any markup that you wanted to a SharePoint list. So as our business moves more so over to using SharePoint processes for other documentation and tools, being able to integrate the two software programs allows us to not only automate, but we can like grab resources and work in similar environments and send, like we could send a link to somebody to, hey, can you look at this and make a decision or print, or it has a lot of the functionality that you would have in web apps. It's just the long way. There's a few more things that you can do, like currently I don't think if you build from just the SDK, there's no color widget yet. So the cool thing is that I was able to make a widget using JavaScript. So that was pretty cool. Anything from JavaScript you could potentially add to the map. There was a table here that I took out and a CSV export. But yeah, it's been great working with this, and we hope to have it used throughout maybe the DOT at some point. That's it. Hopefully I'm not over. I'll be here all day, and thank you.